Hello everybody, and today we're going to be taking a look at NVIDIA's GTX 460. This card released in 2011 under 4 different models, each with their own degrees of variation. Our specific model has 768 megabytes of GDDR5 VRAM on a 192-bit memory interface clocked at 675 MHz with a core clock of 1315 MHz. Regardless of the intricacies, however, this card is generally looked upon as an underpowered option for modern gaming, even on some of its lowest settings. One aspect you may have noticed immediately about this card is its missing fan blade. As temperatures increased, RPMs increased, and vibrations increased. I also did this, however, since it didn't have any proper screws or mounting options to secure the 460 to this OEM machine. Our test system today is an i7-920 with 6GB DDR3. One notable quality about this system is that I received it for free, memory and all. However, when I got it, it came with an AMD HD 4850, to which I have upgraded to the current GTX 460. Overall, this PC is a dream come true for budget gaming. One concern I had was a potential bottleneck of this system, and I was correct in that assumption. According to the bottlenecker, the GTX 460 will produce a 69% bottleneck with the i7-920, which essentially means that the 460 is too weak for the i7-920. However, this is not of much concern as we are evaluating the practicality of the GTX 460 and not of the entire system. Before we get into the benchmarks, it needs to be noted that all games today were ran in the 1366x768 resolution, the maximum which this monitor supports, and until I get a spare 1080p one, all future testing will be done on it. Now let's get on with the video and review some gaming benchmarks performed on this system. First up, one of the most demanding on this list, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I decided to turn all the settings down to the lowest preset, and even though the game looked like a potato while on the ground, the average FPS remained around the mid-50s, but while making our way into the jungle biome, it dropped to the lower 30s. Stuttering was very minuscule, but even then was primarily due to the internet connection and not to the graphics card. This was the first game that I tested on the system, and was therefore one of the first times which the fan decided to run at full power. This led me to discovering that a little USB stick would not suffice in dissipating vibrations. So I packed together a small hard drive, a USB, and some earbud wire, and altogether I raised the card a bit and lessened vibrations. Here's an audio clip of the GPU when we first started playing PUBG. And here's a clip from when we were only 4 minutes into gameplay, and the GPU started to maintain higher temperatures and therefore higher fan RPMs. As you can see, these vibrations were by no means minuscule, but let us direct our focus back toward the abilities of the GTX 460, and not our vibrating card, as we'll save that for another time. Remaining with a few in Battle Royale games, we had the extremely popular Fortnite. For this game, the minimum requirements of the GPU is a GTX 660, and our graphics card was only a 460, so I expected some trouble. Upon startup, Fortnite detected all settings at the medium without VSync at a 60 FPS cap with a slightly lower resolution scale. However, I maxed out the resolution scale, set the FPS to unlimited, and left the settings to medium without VSync. I was very surprised by the outstanding performance of the card. With this low resolution, the GTX 460 was able to attain an average frame rate in the lower 50s, a number in which I was pleasantly surprised about. The next game tested was something more suitable for the time frame in which this card released, Borderlands 2. This was ran with all settings maxed out minus VSync and maintained a beautiful FPS averaging in the upper 90s or lower 100s, but frequent frame rate altercations were plentiful. Coming up, we have a few eSports titles, kicking it off with some Rocket League. All settings were again maxed out, and the FPS stayed consistently playable and enjoyable. An interesting note about this one in particular is normally the card doesn't start revving up to higher RPMs when on the title screen, but in this case it did, most likely due to the intricate menu screen background. Maintaining the theme of esports, we have the ever so popular CSGO, which was the second best running game that we tested by far. The settings in which it was ran was again maxed out without VSync, and hovered around the mid to upper 90s, but dropped to the upper 70s when a combat or death had occurred. Last but not least, a blast from the past, Half-Life 2. This yielded the greatest test scores over any game ran today, all while maxed out. In this opening level, the graphics stayed around the mid 290s, with some rare drops to the lower 280s or upper 270s. Overall, yes, this graphics card has a lot of life left in it. It's most likely not going to be running modern games at 1080p at 60 FPS, but dropping resolution would definitely increase its practicality. Realistically, this card could be used to run games, but it's best suited for secondary systems such as this one, and not, in any regards, proper hardware for anyone trying to run modern games at a playable FPS. Also, side note, don't go out buying GPUs with busted fans. I gotta try to find a way to replace this one, because it is by no means practical or useful to run on the secondary system as I intended. Regardless, make sure to subscribe. Thanks a lot, and have a great day. Adios! Asking if I could get with her, I just played love.